You ran up the entire mountain, exhausted yourself, and reached the top with an empty bucket. Julian collapsed on the stone floor of the mountain shrine, weeping in frustration. Meanwhile, Cale walked up slowly behind him, his bucket filled to the very brim with clear water. Both started at the same river with the exact same task. So why did one lose everything to impatience, while the other achieved total abundance? Before we begin, I pray that whoever is listening right now receives a clear mind, a steady heart, and the quiet wisdom to master their own desires. May you find peace in slow growth and the strength to build a life that stands unshaken through every storm. Amen. If this story touches your heart, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for more stories that change the way we see life. Now ask yourself, are you rushing toward exhaustion or are you walking with purpose? Earlier that morning, in a mountain monastery surrounded by bamboo forests, two young seekers sat at the feet of an old Zen master named Master Ren. Both young men longed to build wealth and security for their families, but the world outside was full of financial chaos, high debt traps, and overwhelming uncertainty. They asked Master Ren how a person could attain true financial freedom when the future is so unpredictable. Master Ren gave each of them a wooden bucket and led them to the bank of a rushing mountain river. Your task is simple, Master Ren said softly. Fill your vessel with water and carry it to the top of the mountain shrine before sunset. But there is one rule, you must not spill a single drop. Julian looked at the rushing river, then up at the steep, winding paths. Eager to prove his strength, he rushed into the cold water, filled his bucket to the absolute brim, and began sprinting up the trail. He wanted fast results, believing speed and reckless effort were the only ways to succeed. But because he was running frantically, the water sloshed violently side to side. Every 10 steps, half the bucket spilled onto the dry dirt. By the time he was halfway up the peak, his muscles were burning, his hands were trembling, and his bucket was completely empty. Frustrated and anxious, Julian ran all the way back down to start over, taking bigger risks and growing more exhausted with every failed attempt. Cale stood by the riverbank and paused. He watched Julian rush and fail. Instead of filling his bucket to the top, Cale dipped it gently into the water, filling it only halfway so it wouldn't slosh. Then he placed a single, smooth flat stone on top of the water's surface to absorb the ripples. Cale did not sprint. He walked with slow, deliberate, mindful steps. He focused only on the path directly beneath his feet, not the summit, not the heat of the sun, and not how fast Julian was running past him. Whenever Julian sprinted past him shouting, "You are moving too slowly. You will never build wealth in time," Cale simply breathed out, lowered his gaze, and kept his quiet pace. When a sudden gust of wind blew across the mountain paths, Julian stumbled because he was rushing, knocking his bucket against a jagged rock and shattering it. But Cale's slow, balanced posture kept him steady on the loose gravel. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Cale reached the mountain shrine. He stepped up to the sacred bowl and poured in his water. It filled the bowl to the very edge. A moment later, Julian reached the top, empty-handed, sweating, and collapsed on the stone floor in tears. "I gave all my energy," Julian cried. "I worked 10 times harder than Cale. Why do I have nothing to show for it?" Master Ren looked down at Julian with deep compassion and said, "You confused motion with progress. You let the thirst for fast results make your actions frantic. When you try to grab everything at once, you spill everything along the way." Cale did not win because he was stronger. He won because he mastered the stillness within his movement. Look closely at your own life. How often do you rush after fast financial wins, taking reckless risks out of fear of falling behind, only to watch your hard work spill away? In life and in wealth, fast momentum without steady discipline is just a disaster waiting to happen. The river of life will always be wild. The key is to carry a quiet stone inside your own mind. Stop comparing your careful, steady journey to someone else's chaotic sprint. Protect your energy, focus on the single smart choice in front of you today, and trust the process. And that brings us to our question of the day. What is one small step or tiny cut you are committing to make in your life starting today? Are you taking small steps or big leaps? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read and reply to as many as I can. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs a little encouragement today. Subscribe for more stories that change the way we see life. Thank you for listening.